It is March, and this is a name you should know. Fiondu Cabagnelli is Dikembe Mutombo's nephew, and he leads number 18 Florida State against North Carolina State. Top of the hour right here on ESPN2. Cabagnelli is the 6'10" Seminoles sophomore forward who leads Florida State in scoring. Now to the crew who's calling that game.
March has arrived. March needs to start today for NC State. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale. How important is this road game today for the Pack?
Well, you know, you want to put a knockout punch, and they'll do the knockout punch if they can beat to get in the tournament if they beat Florida State. They're 8-7 in conference right now, and the bottom line is they're 2-7 in quad 1 wins. Now they'll argue back we're 6-0 in quad 2 wins. I think they're going to be in. However, this eliminates the committee. They win this game on Florida State on the road. The Noles are 14-1 here, Bob. You and I saw their only loss on that big 3 by Reddish of Duke when he beat them at the buzzer.
Yeah, NC State's trying to make the tournament. Florida State, they are in the tournament. Having said that, though, they would love that double bye in the ACC tournament. Half game behind Virginia Tech. They've got the Hokies next. Kind of makes it a must-win the game for them today as well.
Well, yeah, they're going to win this game, and then they're going to be Virginia Tech. You're at home, so that should be a positive. However, you want to get that double edge, and you also want that situation where you want to get that seeding up, and they're playing for that right now. They were dangerous last year. I think they can be dangerous again this year.
It's the Wolfpack and the Noles coming up top of the hour on ESPN2.
Welcome to this Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. We are inside the Donald L. Tucker Center in Tallahassee, Florida, where Florida State hosts NC State in the first meeting of March. Yes, the calendar has turned to this glorious month of basketball when madness reigns, memories are made, and stories are told. Perhaps the tallest tale literally in college basketball resides right here in Tallahassee in 7'4" senior center Chris Kamaji. The only thing longer than his frame is his journey to becoming a key member of the Seminoles. Kamaji grew up outside the capital of Chad. He didn't start playing basketball until he moved to Senegal at age 16. There, he was spotted shopping in a market and soon moved to Orlando to attend school and play basketball. He earned a scholarship to Florida State on raw potential, but he had to develop his body and his game. He did both, adding 35 pounds of muscle and going from playing 6 minutes and averaging a point a game as a freshman to becoming a starter and leading the team in blocks. Now, much of the country will learn Kamaji's story throughout March, but perhaps the best part of it will be in May when he graduates from Florida State, becoming the first member of his village to earn a degree from an American university. And he hopes that for the first time since he was 16, he will see his mom, who just may be in attendance for that special moment. One of many special moments to come for Kamaji and the Seminoles. Bob and Dick, over to you guys.
That's Allison Williams, Bob Wischusen, here with Dick Vitale. One of the stories that March Madness becomes all about, Dick, and the madness for both of these teams, specifically for Florida State, playing with a little bit of pressure today because you know the Noles want to get up to that 4 line in the ACC and see if they can end up getting a double bye in the ACC tournament. The NC State Wolfpack, of course, this is a must-win for them. You can make an argument just to get that signature win to try and get off the bubble.
Well, they want to get off that bubble that people talk about. I don't think they're on the bubble to me. However, a win today is a knockout punch. If they can beat Florida State on this floor, remember, the Noles are 14-1 at home. Their only loss here was to Duke in that dramatic game, a dramatic finish when Cam Reddish hit that big 3 to beat them. So it is a big game. I know one thing, we talked earlier to Coach Keats, and he knows a win today would solidify a bid to the NCAA.
NC State is that classic bubble team. None of their losses are particularly bad. None of their wins are particularly good. This would be the best win of the season if they can get it today against a ranked team on the road.
Well, they came very close to a major win. They lost in overtime to an outstanding Virginia team. But if that, if I had hair, I'd be a TV star.
Chris Kamaji, the tallest athlete in the history of Florida State sports, wins the opening tap, and we are underway here at the Tucker Center.
But the Noles have been so tough here. 47-3 over the last few years, 14-1 this year.
Phil Kofer tries to use the size advantage and does over Braxton Beverly.
Well, that's big because Kofer, he got zilch, 0 in the last game. So he gets on the board right away. He's a key component of the Florida State team.
ball. It will stay with the Pack.
Key player for me in this game from North Carolina State is the play of the point guard, Markel Johnson. If he plays sensational basketball, they play well. He's a catalyst. He's coming off of one of his better games. Wake Forest had 25 points and 6 threes.
And it looks like a foul will be called on Wyatt Walker as he was fighting with Kumaji for position, trying to grab that rebound.
Tell you another guy that really plays well on the road. His numbers on the road are unbelievable. Bryce from North Carolina State.
Now, C.J. Bryce, talking to Kevin Keats when we chatted with him a couple of weeks ago, mentioned that of all of these players for NC State, and they have had just about everyone in their 8-man rotation lead them in scoring at some point this season, and they don't have a player that averages more than 13.9 points per game, that he thinks Bryce can be the guy to elevate his game to maybe become a 17, 18-point-a-game scorer in the ACC. And that's the Walker rebound off the miss from Kumaji.
Well, Bryce came as a transfer, came with Coach Keats from out of North Carolina Wilmington, where he did a great job.
Johnson gives it up, spin move, and Kumaji rejects Wyatt Walker.
That size by Kumaji was a difference maker right there.
Gopher, size advantage again.
Wow.
It's down another. He's got all 4 points in the game so far.
It's amazing. He's got a quick 4 points. He got 0 in the last game. He came out with a little chip on his shoulder, I think.
A 3 for Johnson. And the Wolfpack still can't get on the board.
Getting one shot. Both clubs go to that bench. The bench is really so productive.
Trent Forrest was trying to go up top for Kumaji. It's hard to airmail a guy who's 7'4". He just did. There's Kumaji on the glass again to block Torrendor.
And look at the static. He's the first guy down the floor as well. It's a veteran team. You look at this team, Florida State. They went to the Elite Eight last year. A veteran basketball team. They've won 9 of the last 10 in ACC competition.
Banking it in is M.J. Walker. What a start for Florida State.
Well, Mr. Walker, he banks it in. Timmy B would say, Mr. Brando, the banks are open in Tallahassee, baby.
Kel Johnson, altered shot around Kumaji won't go.
The size of Kumaji has been a difference maker early in this game.
Terrence Mann bullets one to the corner, but is fouled before the pass.
Take a look right here. Look at the size. He rotates over. Forget about it. Thou shalt not enter the lane. Kumaji says, look at Mr. Kofa. Size differential goes right over the top. The little jump ball.
Trent Forrest can't get the roll.
Certainly was a quality shot right in the 3-second area.
Markel Johnson, yes, and finally NC State able to break the ice.
Now you talk about a quality shot. He utilized it really well to screen, got to 15 feet away.
And lobs it to Kumaji.
Kumaji really pumped up here today. He's really active defensively, offensively, wants the rock.
He only averages about 16 minutes playing time per game. Just that big frame and the wear and tear. It's hard for him to stay on the floor for extended stretches, but when he is out there, he is a weapon. That jumper is buried by C.J. Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce really loves playing on the road. Doesn't bother him at all. You know, you mentioned about playing time. You play for Florida State, he rotates 11 bodies, so everybody's going to play. Very difficult to match up with them because you really have a tough time in a scouting report with 11 guys.
Once again, they airmail Kumaji with a pass, but he's been a force so far.
Kumaji's been all over. He's done it all here. He's been blocking shots. He wants the ball inside. He has been a difference maker. There's his little slam, jam, bam.
Boy, if you're a basketball fan, it's the best time of year. We have finally reached March. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale. Allison Williams with us in Tallahassee as well. I'll be part of the Big 12 championship. You'll be part of the SEC championship. We've had a chance to watch the best in the ACC so far this season as well. What's better than March?
Nothing better than that, except when the check comes, because we're stealing money. Doing this for a living, are you serious? Great games, great people to be around. Love the spirit of the kids. They play with a sense of pride, representing that name and that jersey, man. They represent that with great passion and pride.
Again, my agent always texts me and thanks you for talking about the fact that we're stealing money. Loves that comment. Shot from the corner barely draws iron from Dorn, but it stays with NC State.
They got a balanced team, and you look at Coach Keats' club in terms of offense. As you said earlier, leading scorer like 13 points a game. So they got 5 guys that can score.
C.J. Bryce gives it up. He drew Kamaji and was able to dump it down underneath to DJ Funderburk. Well done by Bryce.
Yeah, Funderburk, good movement without the ball, but Bryce did an excellent job with his penetration to find the open player. He's a slasher, very aggressive offensively. Trying to show a little patience on offense.
Shot clock at 8.
Might use the big screen.
Man with the shot clock winding down. Floats one up to Kamaji again.
That's perfect execution. He's talking about offensive efficiency. That's efficiency at its best.
2 seconds on the shot clock and you get a dunk. Not too bad, as that 3 won't go for Johnson. The rebound putback will put Funderburk at the line.
Guys, Kamaji showing his nice finish at the rim. The touch he has now, and that did not come naturally. You know, he grew up with the ball at his feet, not in his hands. He played soccer, so when he got to Florida State, assistant coach Dennis Gates would work with him catching different balls, not just basketballs. He would bring in footballs, tennis balls, soccer balls, baseballs. And while the rest of the team was getting up shots, he would just play catch with Kamaji to get him used to the ball in his hands and work on that hand-eye coordination. You can see just from that how far he has come in developing his game, because it was not something that was natural to him growing up.
You know, Allison, that's a great point that was made by the Florida State people. Any dad out there, a mom out there, want to work with your child, male, female, utilize different balls at a young age. Let them catch with the left hand, the right hand. Let them develop that hand-eye coordination. I did that for hours with my grandkids, hours as they were growing up.
First time in the game is the leading scorer, Fiondu Kabengele for Florida State. He will replace Kamaji, who made a big impact through the first 5+ minutes.
Well, Kabengele's made an impact all year long. He'll probably be the best 6-man in the conference. I mean, he is good dynamite.
He's the only ACC player leading his team in scoring without ever having started a game this season. And I think we got word, by the way, he left his jersey back in the locker room. He would have been in the game earlier. All of a sudden, he looked down under his warm-up and realized he wasn't wearing his gear. He had to run back to the locker room and find his jersey. It is a Kofor turnover. Devin Daniels will drive it.
They're going to find some shots for Beverly. He's a capable 3-point shooter, and he's got to work a little harder to get free for the ball. But he can shoot the rock.
Daniels stepped on the end line, and later today on ESPN, 2 more college hoops games for you at 4 Eastern. Houston squares off with UCF, and then North Carolina and Clemson in an ACC showdown at Little John. You can always watch college basketball live on the ESPN app as well.
Hey, what a job Kelvin Sampson's done with Houston. He's got to be in the talk for Coach of the Year, as is certainly Chris Beard, who you're going to see on Monday night against Texas. What a job he's done with Texas Tech.
MJ Walker floats one underneath to Kabengele.
I tell you what's giving North Carolina State all kinds of problems. The size on the interior, certainly right now, Florida State, and they're taking advantage of it, trying to pound it into the interior.
Blake Harris hits a triple.
Guys, Dick was just talking about Florida State's advantage with size, and that was something Kevin Keats addressed with his team. He said, especially when you're inside like this, going up against them, they might have the length, but you've got to use your strength. Go strong into their bodies inside. Also, he wants to push the pace. He said, even off of a make, we need to get out and run.
Well, just then, they pushed the pace defensively, and Braxton Beverly was able to get a takeaway. And so now it's DJ Funderburk, the redshirt sophomore from Cleveland, at the line.
Tell you one thing, he was talking basically what Allison was referring to, angles, really doing the scenario where you utilize the angles out there. I'll tell you one thing, Coach Keats is a rising star in coaching. Make no doubt about it. He has personality, he has understanding of the game, he communicates well, he teaches, and the players seem to respond and like his unbelievable mental toughness.
Funderburk played a year at Hargrave Military Academy, where he was a teammate for a year of Braxton Beverly. And so now those two have reunited here at NC State. Beverly set up Funderburk there, and now a little token pressure from the Wolfpack that creates a foul on Blake Harris.
Well, they went to a 2-2-1 press there just to try and take Florida State out of any offensive rhythm. Bad pass. Look, he got away with that.
And Cabangeli bails out Terrence Mann.
Cabangeli really dangerous after he screens. Many times people don't realize this. The screener becomes the most dangerous player on the floor. People have a tendency to relax a little after a guy sets a screen. And then it's the roll or a step back for a three.
Raekwon Gray, who was out the last game, back in for Florida State. He replaces Kofor. And it doesn't take long for Leonard Hamilton to cycle his way all the way through the bench. Out of bounds off Blake Harris, so it'll stay with the Noles. 11 to shoot.
A little sloppy right there offensively. Not seeing many transition baskets. Both teams really getting back defensively in transition. Making this really who's going to execute better in their half-court game, 5-on-5, will probably come out the winner.
Shot clock at 5 from NBA range. Nichols. That won't go for the grad transfer from Albany, but hustle by Mann keeps it alive. It's out of bounds off NC State.
Well, you mentioned earlier, this is a big game for Florida State if they want to avoid that, get that double bye rather. If they want that in a conference, they win this, they got Virginia Tech at home. And they got a chance because Virginia Tech, they would tie with a win today. Buzz Williams done one heck of a job so far with that program, playing without Justin Robinson too, who's an outstanding player.
Cabangeli. One-on-one over Funderburk. He's got it.
Oh, this, I'll tell you what, he is special, man. He just knows how to score. Tell you what, he's related to Mr. Mutombo. Mutombo was better defensively, but he's better offensively.
Well, that time he challenged Blake Harris at the rim. But a foul called on Mann. The reach in. And that'll put Jericho Halems at the free throw line.
You know, the game started really, it looked like they were in trouble. NC State had it again, threw a shutout early in the game. They were up a touchdown on them, didn't put them on a board. And here it is, look at the score, only a 2-point differential. Crowd is very quiet on the noon. There's a big dance marathon going on.
I was surprised we got you away from that.
Yeah,
usually Disco Dick ends up next door at the dance competition.
Well, I did a little dance there with the kids. Had a little fun. Gotta have fun in life, man. Enjoy every day. Make the most of it.
And there he is. I told you.
Oh, man.
You didn't know the camera was running, did you? They get that. You always know the camera's running.
I swear, you don't drag me in there, I'll be honest.
Who dragged you in there?
Allison Williams.
I know.
She dragged me, she had a camera out, she said, come on, you gotta dance.
Yeah, it really is, Allison, as you know, so tough to drag Dick to a situation where he's gonna dance with some pretty girls.
I'm so shy.
Dance marathon.
Yeah, if we could just get you to come out of your shell, we'd really have something.
Played aggressive man-to-man defense, fighting over the screen. Good job right there. Didn't go fourth man. Got rid of it at the top. Number 2, second man.
Cabangeli fades away with the shot clock winding down. Keeping it alive on the offensive glass was Raekwon Gray, but he is called for knocking down Helms. Well, you danced pregame. You also did this pregame. Some autographs.
Well, have a little fun, man, a little fun. People love people. You gotta love people. I love people.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy Shot. Get back to 100%.
With the noon tip, it was an early start for the Seminoles. They were getting shots up at about 7:15. By 8, they were in for breakfast, kind enough to let me join them. But it was a working breakfast, guys. They went over personnel for NC State during that time. It lasted about 20 minutes. Coach Hamilton says they don't dine, they eat. All of them except for Cabangeli. You see, he doesn't eat much on game day because he says a hungry lion is more dangerous than a full lion. So he just ate a little bit. I loaded myself up, though.
You know, you watch that right there, you see the camaraderie with the kids. That's what college is all about. I will never forget being at the airport several years ago, and Grant Hill came up to me. He said, keep telling those kids about enjoying college. My greatest years of my life, he said, were at Duke as a student and as an athlete. And he was a student athlete.
I'm a little bitter we didn't get the invite to the pregame buffet with 4 to shoot. Leaning in and coming up short, Helms.
They go to that bench. Helms on the floor, Nichols on the floor.
Sell from the corner, just a little too strong.
These two teams go 1 and 2 in the conference in terms of point production off the bench.
Markel Johnson draws the foul with the spin move.
How good has Florida State been recently? Well, they won 9 out of the last 10. Their only loss Leonard Hamilton had was to North Carolina. And Carolina is playing now as well as anyone. In fact, the Blue Bloods, when you talk about Carolina and Kentucky, they've been making an incredible run for that #1 seed. I'll tell you this, Kentucky has the big game with Tennessee today. They win that game, they sew up a #1 seed. And Tennessee's got to play with a little chip on their shoulder. They need a big-time win. They've been really battling, but they need that big-time win at home playing Kentucky.
Well, this would count if they're able to get it. Cabangeli doing a good Kumaji impersonation as he got the block at the rim.
The reason they don't start it, Bob, Leonard was telling me foul trouble. Doesn't want to get him into foul trouble early. Lets him get a feel for the game, watch what goes on.
Cabangeli is fouled out of 5 games this season. The entire rest of the team is only fouled out 4 times.
You know, Leonard's team, I think, is going to be a tough matchup for people when you start the tournament. They went to the Elite 8 last year, got a veteran team, and I'll tell you why they're a tough matchup. Very difficult to analyze and scouting them because you don't know who's going to hurt you. I mean, they run 11 guys. Every game, it's a different player.
In and out for Torrendon.
Got a good shot there for Torrendon. Quality shot. He's already played 8 players in this game. Good spacing.
Cabangeli tries again.
He got fouled. No call. No call. Oh, Robert.
Walker got the benefit of the doubt.
I'm putting you in a striped shirt.
I promise I won't go to the monitor.
We got a good crew right there. Oh, last week. Oh, man, go to the monitor.
Markel Johnson with the floater, and Cabangeli altered that shot. And another block from the backside by Vassell on Dorn. Vassell leans in. This time it is a foul called, but it's an offensive foul as Wyatt Walker back-to-back trips is strong defensively in the lane.
Tell you right now, give me a striped shirt, man. Right here, the second time for sure he got fouled right there. You got
just a little reach over the top.
I blow the whistle there. I blow the whistle there. I used to be tough in practice, blow the whistle. I would always take it on first team. I give every benefit to the second club.
all you ever tell me is you can't see anything. Now you're going to kill the officials? C.J. Bryce out of the double team gets a return. He'll try a 3.
They've done a really good job, Florida State, taking away Johnson. Johnson contained him.
And there's a foul on Markel Johnson. Tonight's NBA Saturday primetime game, presented by HyperX Gaming, features two of the association's top teams, the Warriors in Philly to take on the Sixers. Our coverage tips off with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern on ABC. You can always watch on the ESPN app from anywhere.
I look at the Sixers now. That starting lineup is incredible. They got a terrific starting lineup. Golden State looks to me a little bored. I think they can't wait for the playoffs and for when it really starts to count. I really do.
I don't know what to make of the Eastern Conference. Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard or remember a potential 1 seed ever being talked about less than Milwaukee?
Absolutely.
I mean, Giannis obviously is talked about all the time as an MVP candidate with the shot clock down to 5. MJ Walker will step back. That shot blocked, but a foul called on Torin Dorn that bails out Florida State. But the first team to clinch a playoff spot is Milwaukee. They're the #1 seed, and all anybody talks about is Kyrie going to get Boston back into it? Will Philly come together? Toronto, obviously, are they going to be able to regain their supremacy in the East? No one ever seems to talk about the Bucks, and yet they've had one of, if not the best record in basketball the whole year.
And probably the best player right now, if you turn it, of giving an MVP award. What about the Greek Freak? He's been off the charts. I will tell you this. I watched a little of that game last night. Beat the Lakers. The Lakers looked like they were in command. They were up like 9. Then they were up 1 late in the game, and all of a sudden they get beat at the end. They have a problem defensively. The Lakers do not defend. And you can't win against good clubs unless you defend. They can talk only one about offensively. LeBron is going to score his points, but they have to, as a team, buy in and play defense, or there'll be no playoffs for the Lakers.
And as dominant a player as LeBron is, if you've been watching them the past few weeks, he's been as guilty as any player on that team, at times of being passive defensively, as the pack now turns it over.
Well, in fairness to LeBron, though, getting a little up in age and trying to save yourself a little bit out there, those young guys got to step up, too. Those young guys really are not stepping up on the defensive end. They just want to score, score, score. I see what Luke Walton said. We're going to go to an 8-man rotation. Hey, we're going to get back to college. I'm in here to talk NBA. We're going to talk college.
Don't yell at me.
Oh, geez,
I wasn't taking you there.
I would never yell at you. Oh, he got bumped right there.
And MJ Walker does draw the foul. So both teams now out of fouls to give here in the first half. And it's a 1-and-1 for the Noles. It's team foul number 7 on State.
I mentioned earlier Coach of the Year candidates. Certainly you got to factor in right now the job being done at Watford. I mean, what a job that coach has done. Coach Young has been really terrific. And then you think about, I'll give you another guy, Ole Miss. Ole Miss was picked to be last in the SEC. They're going to be the NCAA tournament. Kermit Davis Jr. has done a great job, just like he did at Middle Tennessee State. So he's got to be in a run. I have Mike Hopkins in that run as well from Washington, but they got beaten in by California. And I will say this about the Pac-12. And they'll yell East Coast bias. I don't want to hear that nonsense. East Coast bias. We will praise them when they deserve to be praised. Right now, I look at that conference, one team, Washington. If Washington doesn't win, then I'll have 2 teams because they belong in the tournament. But it's really been a down year, mediocrity, below mediocrity for the Pac-12.
Walker shuffled his feet. Yeah, there is a bubble question that's going to be answered this year, and you wonder how many of those quote-unquote mid-major or non-power conference teams that always seem to have that March argument. We got left out because you sided on, the domination of the power leagues. Well, if it really is a mediocre group of power teams kind of in the middle of the pack, is this a year where some of the non-power teams get the benefit of the doubt and get a few more at-large bids than they've had before?
Well, I hope so. I hope teams like Belmont, for example, you think about Wofford, you think about Buffalo, if they lose their conference tournament.
Well, Buffalo and Wofford are both in.
No, but
right?
if they lose their conference tournament,
yes,
they should be in no matter what.
That's a bid stealing.
Over teams that are 500 conferences. Come on.
Walker hits a 3.
Big 3 right there by Walker.
And a timeout will be called by Kevin Keats. When we talked about the mid-majors, talked about the bubble, what about the top 10 and what is unique about it? We'll talk about that with Dick Vitale when we come back to Tallahassee. Bob Bob Shoes and Dick Vitale, Allison Williams back in Tallahassee. Let's take a look inside the top 10 of the AP poll. Now, the bloodlines, they run deep. You've got the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the North Carolinas. 6 of the top 10 right now have a national championship somewhere in their history. But what about a team like Gonzaga, or maybe the interlopers like Houston and Marquette? It's kind of a unique top 10.
Well, Gonzaga, to me, you better look at them closely. I've been impressed with them from day one, and nothing has changed. Even I had them in a game when North Carolina beat them easily up in Chapel Hill. I remember telling Boo Shambi on the game, I said, hey, Boo, they're not going to lose another game the rest of the way. And right now, they're rolling. They got a tough one a little tonight with St. Mary's. But their club at Hachimura, we're talking Perkins, Clark, they can flat out play. And I like that team. I really do. Mark Few does a great job. Plus, next year, Mark is confirmed. We're going to honor Mark at the Dick Vitale Gala. He'll be one of our honorees next year.
Well, our graphic asked a good question as that straightaway 3 is buried by the freshman Helms. Is Gonzaga now a blue blood? Has Mark Few brought that program with enough years of winning at a high level, or do they need to be in more Final Fours and actually win some national championships to join the true blue bloods of college basketball?
Well, let me tell you this. Talk to any of the coaches out there, and if they play them, you better believe they know they play at the blue blood level. And to me, they got everything going for them. They do everything in a first-class manner. They're blue blood to me. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Mark Few's going to be headed to the Hall of Fame. He and Jay Wright, they're on that next group. Billy Donovan.
Reverse wildly thrown up by Beverly, and it won't go.
You know, we've seen Beverly now twice, and he has a difficult time, to me, getting free for shots. The kid is a terrific shooter, terrific. And we had him against Duke, and here, I don't believe he's taken a 3 yet today, has he?
He took one and missed, and now Kofor gets a second try. He tried to lob one again to Kamachi, but he was defended at the rim.
But he threw that on the line rather than throw the ball up in the air and let Kamachi go get it. So they get right up in his face. They know he can shoot the 3, so it opens up driving situations for him.
Kamachi on him here, and Beverly whips one to the corner. Helms, floater, no. And Kofor's got it.
Smart play right there by Beverly when he tried to attack. He saw Kamachi rotate over.
Guys, offensively for Florida State, it's been too much east and west. They need more north and south, using the ball screens here to go towards the basket and telling Kamachi after he sets those screens to make sure he's pinning down his guy so Walker and Savoy can be open.
A little Euro step crossover here, and it's an offensive foul on C.J. Bryce. As North Carolina State, before that turnover, was one of their last 12 from the field, and still they only trail by 5.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I thought this game was going to be an up-tempo. I really thought the game was going to go up and down the floor, both teams scoring. It's more of a half-court game, and I look at the scenario here. Now, you remember this. Florida State was in a battle with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and luckily pulled that game out against Mike Bray's team, and that was a game where the tempo was controlled by Notre Dame. Right now, we don't see as much up-tempo that I thought we'd see in this game.
Both teams back to the bench, and that's a backcourt violation. No, it's not. They're going to call Blake Harris for bumping Nichols, who I thought stepped on the midcourt line.
Let's look at Coach Keats. His opponent on the other side, Mr. Hamilton, has already utilized in this game 11 players. So you come here, you're going to get some playing time. He was crushed, though, by not getting the young guy that's going to Georgia. He thought they had a great chance here at Florida State. Edwards, who's a terrific talent. That was a great coup for Tom Crean, keeping a star player in the state of Georgia home. Because you know what happens, Bob? That builds. And we can talk all we want about teams' efficiency. It starts with blue-chip players. You need talent.
Laying it in is C.J. Bryce.
I'll tell you one thing, you talk about talent, Bryce. I like Bryce right there with his drive for the goal. We talk about talent. Gonzaga has loads of talent. They're a talented basketball team. Will make a lot of noise in March Madness.
If they win their league, are they in no doubt about it 1 seed, or could one of the other teams fighting it out for the 1 seeds climb over them?
I don't think so. I think they're in a 1 seed. I really do. The kind of year they've had.
Nice lay in by Walker on the drive.
Nice drive by Walker. Took the ball strong to the goal. You know what that drive reminded me of last week? The kid Smart. He was unbelievable driving to the goal against Tennessee.
Markel Johnson lobs it up, and Funderburk couldn't put it down. And then a foul, it looks like, will be called on Funderburk as he got tied up with Cabangeli.
Yeah, to me, and I mentioned Gonzaga, #1 seed. With the year they've had, there's no doubt they're the #1 seed. I really do. I mean, unless they had a bad upset along the way. Like Washington, had a bad upset yesterday, get beat by the day before California. That really stunned me big time. I mean, the Pac-12 will come down. It's too good a conference, too many good coaches. It all gets down to recruiting. Arizona now has the #1 class in recruiting coming in next year.
And how important is this game to both Florida State and NC State? Well, NC State needs that signature win. And this would be it if they could get it on the road to really put themselves on the right side of the bubble. And for Florida State, trying to tie Virginia Tech for 4th place in the ACC, and those two teams play here Tuesday night.
Well, you look at North Carolina State, 8-7. Danger, you lose here, you're 8-8. You don't want to screw around going into the committee in front of them, being 500 with all the great teams having super years this year, the mid-majors. I mean, because there might be that feeling this year, we're not going to reward mediocrity over a team that wins 24, 25 games and loses 3 or 4.
Nice setup by Blake Harris to C.J. Bryce, and we've got a 2-point game again.
I'll tell you, Bryce has really been tremendous. I couldn't believe his numbers, Bob, on the road versus at home. Yeah, it was like 17 a game on the road.
Man leans in and can't get it to go. Yeah, he's averaging in ACC road games 16.3 points per game.
Yeah, and also shoots the 3 exceptionally well on the road.
59% in the league on the road in the ACC.
See, I knew you had that all there. I set it up just like you showed me during the break. You set it up for you, and you delivered really great.
Thank you very much. You aren't supposed to reveal our rehearsal. And here is the find, nicely done by Blake Harris.
Yeah, good job by Harris. Getting a lot of playing time today.
Well, both of these teams you talked about utilize their bench. Coming into today, NC State has outscored the opponent's bench by 407 points. Florida State has outscored their opponent's benches by 525 points. Both teams average over 30 points a game off the bench.
Yeah, they really do. They go to their benches. A lot of clubs don't believe in that, though. That's why there's such a differential. A lot of clubs like a rotation of 7, 8 guys. That's it. Everybody has a different mindset, how they handle that. There's a 2-2-1 press. That press really helped Duke when it came back.
And Blake Harris gets the steal and then draws the foul on M.J. Walker.
Tell you one thing, Harris he's played well off that bench for him. Coach Keats will a little clapping on the sideline, likes what he sees.
And Harris will be going to the line now to try and add to a bench point differential that's already lopsided for NC State, a tie game, as they have outscored Florida State's bench 14-4. But Harris can't knock it down. Cabangeli spins baseline. Travel. So it will be NC State ball when we come back to Tallahassee. Deadlocked, under 4 to go here in the first half. Shoes and Dick Vitale, Allison Williams. Dick takes us inside the play.
What we're going to look about here, eyes behind your head. Look at this right here. He's anticipating what he wants to do. There's Harris now with the drive. He sees right here. He knows where everybody's on the floor. Corner of his eye. He's making sure he's aware where his teammates are, aware where the defense is rotating over. He has no chance to shoot it, throws it out, and Mr. Right there, Bryce becomes the beneficiary of an excellent play by Mr. Harris.
With those eyes behind his head.
Absolutely. I just wish I had 2 eyes.
Your one good one is in front of your head, so that's a good thing. Here's Cabangeli trying to use a size advantage in the lane, leans in, and rolls it right over the front of the rim.
He did a great job getting into the lane. See, defense should have rotated over and pushed him out to sideline.
If you're an NBA scout, what do you think of Cabangeli?
Oh, I like him a lot. I think stock going up. I think he's better off coming back to school for another year and really work a little bit more on his game, perimeter game. But I think he's got a chance. He'll be a first-round draft choice next year.
C.J. Bryce gives it up to Funderburk, who can't connect, and Nichols has the rebound.
Well, I like Bryce. I'll tell you one thing. Bryce is a gamer.
Cabangeli short for 3.
That's an area he's got to work on a little bit more. Understanding a quality shot. That was not a quality shot. He was challenged, shot it too quickly.
Funderburk fouled by Gray.
Nice cut without the ball by Funderburk. Did a little job dumping a bounce pass for young kids watching him. Use the bounce pass.
We're only 2.5 minutes away from the E-Trade halftime report. Among other things, they'll be talking about the big one between Kentucky and Tennessee, part of a Saturday slate of important college basketball games. And Joe Lunardi on bubble teams like Clemson, Utah State, certainly in the conversation, NC State as well. So Joe Lunardi has entered the bracket bunker, and we are probably not going to see him. He's like Punxsutawney Phil. We're not going to see him come out and experience sunlight again until Selection Sunday.
I'll tell you one thing, as you look at this game here, it's big, as we talked earlier. When you think about North Carolina State, I'll give you a reason why. You want to get in 1 year. You ready for this? Syracuse was 10-8, and they didn't get in the tournament. 10-8. So there's no luck you getting in if you're a 9-9 club, especially in today's day and age with the mid-majors really having some great years. Some teams today, the last team to get in 4 games under 500 in league play, right here, Florida State, 1998, 6-10, and they got in. I don't think you're seeing that this year.
Here's Cabangeli hitting a 3.
Well, he squared his body, got a good look, shoulders squared to the rim, shot that under control, and a good 3.
Blake Harris, rebound to Mann.
Okay, Blake Harris, minutes going up.
Terrence Mann, nice
pass.
look, bounce pass for the reverse by Trent Forrest.
You know, there's eyes behind the head right there by Mann. Great look, looks one way, drops it on a dime. And he made like Charlie Ward when he played here. The Heisman Trophy winner who said, forget football, I'm playing for the Knicks basketball.
Back when the Knicks won.
There's Mann. Mann is the man. There he is with the, and look at Forrest, reverse layup, lays it in. Terrence Mann, veteran player. He was great before the game. I have you as a guest. I think many of you follow me Twitter. A youngster named Joshua Fisher, 10 years old, cancer survivor. First game he's seeing. Came here with me, we flew him in, and we had a great time with his dad. But Terrence Mann and the Florida State players were so good to him. And I hope it doesn't jeopardize his eligibility. They gave him a bunch of Florida State shirts because he's going to be a player.
And now, there he is with his gear.
Yeah, there he is. Look, Joshua. What a good-looking little guy. Look at Joshua wearing his Florida State shirt. I also took him to a Notre Dame football game. He had a time of his life. Ready for this, that youngster you just looked at? He did 1,200 doses of chemotherapy to battle his cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And today he is cancer-free, showing that dollars do work in research.
Well, we want to prove that the money that you raise is going to not just go to a great place, but produce results. And he is an example of the results that the dollars that you're helping to raise will produce, and you're going to produce as many as possible with your book.
Well, the book is really doing well. And I'm going to challenge North Carolina State with Jimmy V coach. I'm going to challenge you big time. You should see the orders that came in from Duke and from North Carolina when we did their games. So I'm challenging you to top that. Just go to dickvitelonline.com and you can get the book, My Best Players in My 40 Years at ESPN, in all different categories. That's right. Get the book, and every dollar that I would make is going for kids battling cancer. My wife has another big check going to the V Foundation from early sales from all the beautiful people at Duke and North Carolina. I need the research triangle to come up big. DickVitaleOnline.com. You help kids like Joshua. What a beautiful kid he is. I can't tell you. Personality plus. Dad, Pat Fisher with me here. I get a bigger thrill. I took him to the Notre Dame football game. He was in a locker room. He met players. He was on the field before the game.
They're even putting him to work today.
Yeah,
He's got the mop. He's like, yeah. The minute someone goes down and creates the sweat mark on the floor, guess who's going to be out there mopping the floor?
He's also an outstanding lacrosse player. So good. I mean, the other teams have a tough time trying to defend him. He scores like crazy. Great little athlete. Look at him mopping work. There he is. Come on, Joshua. Come on, Joshua. It's hard to believe this youngster battled. So courageous. I can't even imagine 1,200 doses of chemotherapy.
That's amazing.
Can't imagine. He's been now cancer-free for 4 years. Just praying from every night that he just continues. I'm sorry if I got away from the game, but I mean so much to me seeing kids like this.
I think Josh is worth it.
We had a great time with him at dinner last night with Shula's.
That last foul, by the way, was on Cabangeli. That's his second, so that puts him on the bench for Leonard Hamilton. But with only a minute to go in the first half, at least he'll most likely be able to avoid getting into significant foul trouble today.
Well, as you said earlier, really well. The big three right there.
Hits a three.
As you said well, Cabangeli's problem has been foul trouble. Fouled out of 5 games, as you stated, and that's the reason his minutes are not what they normally would be. He plays so much more if he wasn't in foul trouble.
Kel Johnson able to finish.
They need this Jack Johnson. He's too good a player to be silent. He's got to step it up for them if they're going to leave here with a win. He's got outstanding talent. They want him to be more consistent. Coach Keats, tell him what he told us there today about consistency.
Well, not only the consistency is, it looks like we've got a technical foul called on Markel Johnson after the made bucket. And if you're Kevin Keats, especially on the road, after one of your most explosive offensive players shows up for the first time, he now has 5 to say the magic words after you lay it in and give up 2 free throws and the ball at the other end. That's a big swing in momentum.
Say Rutgers there. He drives to the goal, scores the goal. There he looks good.
And there's the mistake, as it was hard to tell exactly what Markel Johnson said, but it was the magic words. Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, Allison Williams back here at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee, where Florida State has opened up a 5-point lead, and they can hold for the final shot of the first half.
You know, you're in a real battle. You're on a road. Your team needs a big road win, a special win. You're a star player in a point guard slot. Why in the world would you try to do that after you scored? I mean, come on. You got to use some sense on the court as well.
Eight seconds to go in the half.
Got to make sure they don't get a score right here.
Trent Forrest floats and get it to go. There is Markel Johnson for the rebound. And that will end the half with the Noles up by 5. Florida State has won 9 of their last 10. A very important game for NC State as well. A team that is right on the bubble and is trying to get firmly on the right side of the bubble. And a win today would go a long way towards making that case for the Wolfpack. But Florida State looking for their 10th win in 11 games. Let's check in with Allison.
Thanks, guys. Coach Hamilton, you're shooting over 50%. NC State about 26%. So how is this a 5-point game?
Because we turned the ball over. And we made 3 passes, throwing it out of bounds. The post got rolling. And we got to the point where we tried to make plays after the first and second pass. And they're a good defensive team. And we turned the ball over. If we just take care of the ball, obviously it'd be a little different. But they're a good basketball team, and they forced us to make some indecision with their aggressiveness. Hopefully we'll settle down a little bit in the second half and execute a lot better.
Leonard, thank you so much. Bob.
All right, Allison, thanks very much. We'll take a quick timeout here in Tallahassee. 5-point lead for Florida State over NC State. After the break, it's the E-Trade halftime report. Welcome back to the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. And welcome back to the ACC on ESPN. Bob Wischusen, Dick Vitale, Allison Williams. 5-point game as Florida State is on top of NC State. It's a very important game for both teams, and Florida State had a sense of urgency, Dick, early defensively, especially at the rim as they used their height advantage. Here's Phil Kofer doing just that.
Yeah, they really exerted their height. There's Kofer right there using his size. Then they go inside with the lob to the 7'4", Mr. Kamaji. And defense rotates over. They flip it up high. I don't know why they don't use this a lot more. They throw it up, and then look at defensively. Look at all those trees, the evergreens, man, the redwoods. There they are rotating over, and they cause a nightmare for North Carolina State. But they hung in the game, North Carolina State. But right there, the defense exerted itself size-wise, and the size was a factor early in the game. And then North Carolina settled down and started to get themselves, and they're in a battle right now. And remember, as Bob said, we talked about it, this game is vital to a team like North Carolina State trying to lock up a March Madness berth.
Yeah, they're on the bubble, certainly. Maybe right now on the right side of the bubble, but if they want to take any of the real conversation out of that room on Selection Sunday, this would be a game that would go a long way towards accomplishing that goal for NC State. But they're going to have to shoot it better in the second half at only 27%.
Yeah, 27%. The bottom line is, and you're only down 5 on the road. That's certainly a positive. Allison, that's the one positive. Talk to Coach Keats. What did he say?
Well, Dick, he actually said that they are right where they want to be here at the half. He said defensively they've been great. They struggled for a stretch when they weren't making some shots. Even on the defensive end, they started to lack. But then they really locked in, and the shots started to fall. And for that to continue, he said he wants his team to look for strong shots, not to get creative with their shots, but to take tough, strong moves to the basket.
They have no players so far in double figures. NC State does. 9 points in the first half for DJ Funderburk, but he scored 7 of his 9 at the free throw line. That was one area where NC State did good work. 11 of 15 at the line. So they got themselves to the charity stripe, but only shooting 8 of 30 from the field. And they'll start off the second half with a foul here as Wyatt Walker was doing his best to front Kamaji.
They tried to throw the alley-oop right up on top. You're right. Funderburk did a great job getting to the free throw line. They tried to start this half with a set play, throwing a diagonal lob over the top to the big guy.
Kofer rises up. Offensive rebound man, and he will stick it back up and in.
What a terrific athlete. And that's exactly what he was telling us before the game, Coach Keats. I got to be concerned about offensive rebounding. And there's an example. Their guards can rebound like man.
Foul called on Bryce.
No doubt about it. Can't get away with that, Bryce.
And man is shaken up as he was hit hard by C.J. Bryce.
Here we go again. Watch the jump shot. Watch it come off. Where's the block out? Well, it's not there. So man takes advantage, and there he is. He's the man. Mr. Man wants to be the man. And there he is.
All right, now he's manning up just to stay in the game. And it looks like he may have to come out of the game, and looking to go to the bench as well as M.J. Walker with a limp. And he may be cramping up, hard to tell, holding the back of his right leg. So all of a sudden, 2 pretty important players for Florida State are shaken up. Terrence Mann is staying in the game, but M.J. Walker, who had 11 in the first half to lead the Noles, he's on the bench.
Well, M.J. Walker really did a great job in that first half, giving them point production. The one thing they have, though, their depth factor really minimizes some of those little mishaps where players go out.
Ugly shot from Kofer. A push from Markel Johnson, but a fumble and a turnover by Torin Dorn.
Well, Markel Johnson did a great job in left hand, utilized it well, drove the bounce pass off the left hand, but they didn't convert. Tell you one thing, Beverly digging in on the defensive end. Trying to drive, beat his man to a spot.
Man with a shot fake. Tried to slip one to Kamaji, and instead off to Karam, it ends up with Kofer.
As Kofer showing why last year he was their leading scorer. Then he was out with that foot injury early in the year. And then, as you said, he's been an up and down player. They need him to be a kind of star player. He was a key catalyst to them going to the Elite Eight. Dumped it in. Oh, he's wide
Kamaji
open.
couldn't handle the lob from Forrest. He was alone at the rim. But Kofor, when he got a chance to get to the rim, made it count.
Yeah, look at his hands. He made a great catch to grab that ball, and then was explosive with the bounce to the goal.
Bryce left alone, can't knock down the wide-open 16-footer. Although Wyatt Walker, hustling, knocked it out of bounds off Florida State. And that is the leading scorer in the first half, MJ Walker riding the bike just to try and stay limber and see if he can work out whatever that cramp was. Torrin Dorn lays it in off the feed from Walker.
Walker did a great job with that pass. Tremendous bounce pass. Utilized that really well. You know, remember with this Florida State team, I mean, how good they are. They're 14-1 at home, and the only loss was to Duke on that dramatic finish when Reddish hit that three.
Kofor fouled by Markel Johnson.
When you start to own your court, and that's what's happened down here. This has become a great place for them. Florida State, built by Leonard Hamilton, 47-3 in their last 50 games. Take a look there at their resume. They want to bump that up.
And right now, Joe Lenardi predicts them to be a 5 seed if the tournament were to start tomorrow.
I think they can get to a 4 seed. If they can beat Virginia Tech on Monday, win this game, I think when it's all said and done, they have a chance to be a 4 seed.
That foul, by the way, on Markel Johnson, his third. Kofor goes to work, has his pocket picked by C.J. Bryce. Bryce gives it right back to Trent Forrest.
And Forrest comes from the back. He said, anything you can do, I can do better.
Forrest lobs it to Kamaji, and that time he doesn't miss.
I'll tell you this, I do not comprehend why they don't do that more often. Flipping that little lob up to the big guy inside, because it's total a mismatch size-wise.
Braxton Beverly hits a 3. That's his first triple of the game. And a quick timeout is called by Kevin Keats.
They need him to get more open looks because he'll make that trifecta.
That is his 43rd made 3 in ACC play, third most in the league. But Chris Kamaji has been a big factor. And we will hear more about Florida State's tallest ever athlete with Allison when we come back.
Going to the top now.
Kamaji for Florida State, showing off his hand strength with the dunk here, and that's something he had to develop when he came to Florida State. I told you how Coach Gates worked with him, catching different balls. Well, assistant coach Stan Jones worked with him on developing his grip and hand strength. Jones spent 14 years as a high school coach, so he used a lot of his old school drills. Just having him palm and pick up a basketball, move it around, and really try and develop and work on that hand strength, because growing up in Africa, he played soccer. He wasn't used to having a ball in his hands, and he really had to work to develop that.
He's 16 years of age. I don't care how big you are.
And he's adding a different element to this Florida State team. He's been in double figures 7 times this season, but 4 of their last 5 games. He's averaging close to 12 points a game over that stretch, and he's got 6 today. So if Kamaji is a big factor for this Noles team as they approach the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament, they're a whole different team than they've been all year. Nice fadeaway for Torrin Dorn.
There's Dorn right there. Dad was a heck of a football player. Brother plays at North Carolina. Dad played at the Tar Heels as well. You go to that 2-2-1 press.
Old school finger roll for Devin Vassell.
Tell you what, George Gervin, the Iceman, would love that play. He said, that's me. That's me. But he did it all the time. He was a machine.
Markel Johnson shovels one off to Dorn. He hits another mid-range in the lane.
Well, Dorn hits the little mid-range jumper, but you got to credit Markel Johnson. Tremendous job penetrating and then knowing where his teammate was. Great awareness, good basketball IQ.
Forrest accelerates. That foul is on Markel Johnson, and it is. That's his 4th. So that's a key foul for NC State, with Florida State on top by 4. Kevin Keats knows, as things stand right now, it would be a very interesting conversation in the committee room about his Wolfpack. But he is looking to take all of that conversation out of the mix and become an automatic tournament qualifier. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale and Allison Williams in Tallahassee. Coming up short on the drive as man. Right now, Joe Lenardi predicts NC State in the tournament as a 10 seed. That is tenuous. They want some more wins to solidify that spot, especially a road win against a ranked team.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If there's such a thing as a great loss, I mean, I don't believe in losses, but if there's a great loss for them was that unbelievable heartbreaker they lost to Virginia in overtime. So the committee looks at that factor. I mean, that's a big plus for them. But they got to make sure they stay over 500 in conference play. They got Georgia Tech and Boston College to finish the season. So they should be able to, I mean, based on what we've seen on those clubs, make that happen.
Dorn in the mid-range again.
He really likes that. 3 baskets in a row he's made in that area of the floor.
And he now has 8. He's been in double figures the last 6 in a row.
There's that 2-2-1 press. They just do that to basically wear you down a little bit, take some time off the shot clock, get you out of any rhythm you want offensively.
And trying to keep it alive on the offensive glass, the back tap to Vassell.
And he does. He got another second opportunity. Offensive rebound. What a key component that is in the team's offensive game.
Man trying to weave his way through traffic. Hits the underside of the backboard. Kumaji has it knocked out of his hands by C.J. Bryce.
Bob, one major point of emphasis this morning at breakfast as Florida State went over the scout was keeping NC State off of the offensive boards. They're second in the ACC, averaging about 13 offensive boards a game. Charlton Young, their assistant coach, said, I want you to block like an offensive line. That has to be your mindset on the boards. So far, they are doing that. NC State has just 7 to 18 defensive rebounds for Florida State.
Tell you one thing right there. They're getting offensive rebounds from the truck right there, Florida State. They get a second opportunity, draws contact, and a foul. Both these clubs get on the offensive glass. Allison's 100% right.
And they're both up to 7 offensive rebounds in the game now. And there is Charlton Young, who does a terrific job on Leonard Hamilton's staff.
He's a young guy, going to go places in the coaching profession, loves what he's doing. Free throw line could be big in this game. Coming down the stretch.
So far, the Noles only 6 of 11 at the line. But Topher knocks this one down. And tonight, it's UFC 235 from Las Vegas. John Bones Jones defends his light heavyweight title against Anthony Smith. And Tyron Woodley puts his welterweight belt on the line against Kamaru Usman in the pay-per-view co-main events. ESPN Deportes, they'll have the prelims starting at 8 Eastern. So to order the main card, go to ESPN.com/UFC 235.
There's Beverly trying to get free for a shot. Half-court offense.
Instead, the flip on the drive rolls home for Devin Daniels.
Daniels making a big play right there with the left hand, driving to the basket. Strong drive. Tell you one thing, even though they're at home right now, Florida State can't get great separation. No matter how poorly they've been shooting the ball. When you look at North Carolina State, they're right there. Turnovers has been a real nightmare.
Forrest will go to the free throw line. Florida State shooting 47% from the field. And they have held NC State to 36%. But they're only up by 2 because of those turnovers. Turned it over 14 times.
Yeah, 14 turnovers has been a difference keeping them in the game. Tell you one thing, NC State's playing with purpose. They want this win here over a quality team. They're 2-7 against quad 1 teams. So they made sure they let us know, though, they're 6-0 against quad 2. When they said they lump them all together, the quad 1s and the quad 2s, I don't need all these quad 3s, 4s, 5s. I got the VBDI, the Vital Ball Dome Index.
Perfect. I think by definition, you're not going to get past quad 4.
Quad 4. Oh, gee.
You're good at math. Come on.
Oh, man.
You know, going back to some great Florida State lineage and tying it together with football, you mentioned Charlie Ward. Remember Amp Lee? Great
Absolutely.
running back in the late 80s, early 90s, gained over 2,000 yards for Florida State. Trent Forrest's cousin.
Oh, is that Trent's cousin? I think Amp Lee, if I'm correct, is from my area where I live in the Sarasota, Bradenton area.
Tell him we said hi.
I'm going to look him up. I missed you down at the Oscars, man. I had a great time at the Oscars.
Yeah, I'm sure you were waiting for me.
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for you. Sat with a great table. Here he goes, a little half-court game. They're making him play half-court basketball. Very little in transition.
You missed me at the Oscars. Funderburg fades away. To say that you live a life with which I am not familiar would be the biggest understatement of all time.
My wife danced with Jamie Foxx.
Right, and my wife danced with our kids in the kitchen. As Nichols got to the baseline but couldn't hold on. Kofor heads to the bench as Raekwon Gray comes back in, and Terrence Mann will sit down as well as Kabengele returns. So that was a long rest for Mfiondu Kabengele as he is back on with 12.5 minutes to play.
Oh, he's bumping right there. They don't want him to get another foul. He's had a history getting in foul trouble. He wants the ball inside. They missed him down in the post. He's instant offense, man. When he steps on the floor, good things happen.
Mfiondu Kabengele is met at the rim, goes down hard, and the foul is on Funderburg.
Well, he's like the #1 option, man. He comes off the bench, and immediately he's an offensive threat. And there's a perfect example. On the floor about 20 seconds, and there he is right now being able to score. You know, you mentioned about the fact that we're living a life. Let me tell you this. I'll tell you what I'll do right now on national TV. I will do this right now. You give me your age. You give me your bank account. I'll give you my bank account, and I'll give you 79 years old. We make a deal?
No.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
Good.
You're living a dream.
Good negotiation.
Get a little wacky after a while. It's March. We get wacky and tired, too.
How about the fouls in the second half, by the way? Speaking of wacky, Florida State has yet to commit a personal foul in the second half. NC State is already over the limit.
I said earlier, that could be a difference maker here in this game. We talked about that a couple minutes ago, especially if they convert on the line, which they didn't do in the first half.
2 free throws for Mfiondu Kabengele. Again, the only ACC player leading his team in scoring without having started a game.
But he really, in essence, is a starter. They only do that to protect him, basically, from foul trouble. As you said so well, fouled out of 5 games already this year.
Blocked by Forrest. Kabengele's got it.
Their strength, when you talk about Florida State, is defending and depth. They're a deep basketball team, athletic.
That reverse just a little too strong for Forrest.
Forrest with a strong drive, but he doesn't come up with the deuce.
Torin Dorn off the window.
Boy, he's doing everything he can to try and get a W for the kids down in Raleigh. Jimmy V would really love watching Keats work that sideline. Jimmy V was all about energy, enthusiasm. Nobody can ever forget that moment in '83 when they won the national title. Albuquerque. Good
takeaway by Blake Harris. With the left hand, able to finish plus the foul. So Blake Harris with a chance for an old-fashioned three-point play. And he'll have an opportunity to make it a one-point game.
Tell you what a play he made right here. He anticipated well, stepped in the passing lane, got the good angle, got that ball, and then he sealed the defense off beautifully to make that happen.
The 9th steal of the game for NC State. We'll talk about living a life with which I am not familiar. You are a master at the quick signature.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy Shot. Get back to 100%.
Savannah. Take a look at this drive. Look how he seals off the defense. Uses the left hand, takes his body. Watch, anticipates well, steps in the passing lane. Now watch right now. Watch him shield. He cuts the defensive player right off and draws contact. That was a terrific play. He's got one of those names that stands for like stardom. Blake Harris. That's made for a star.
Dick Vitale.
I don't know what that's. Dickie V, huh?
Same thing. Forrest gets it across, and Gray passed up a wide open shot. Under 11 minutes to go. That foul that put Harris at the free throw line. The first foul called on the Noles in the second half as MJ Walker floats one home.
MJ Walker, man, has scored for them. First half was big with 11 points. They can't seem to get over the hump. He's always behind 2-3 points.
There's a foul called on Walker as he reached in on Harris. Walker's got 13, the most he's scored since January 27th when he had 22 against Miami.
Turned it around here with a shooting percentage, 27% as Allison talked about with the coach in the first half. And now this half, 62%, taking better shots. And Doran has really helped them, making a 15-foot jump shot.
Guys, Kevin Keats really positive during that last timeout, telling his guys, I love what you're doing. This has been a great game. Just continue to settle in. He told them we have to keep playing together because every time we get to this point, when we get close, we do something to take ourselves out of it. So continue to play together. We know we can score. We just got to keep defending and get bodies on guys to rebound.
So one thing, he works that sideline, man. He did a great job, North Carolina, Wilmington. I think he had 28 wins. He said he was a nervous wreck going into the championship of the conference championship because he was afraid that they would be left out if they didn't win their conference tournament. And he probably was right. Got to get those Davids in there, man, to play the Goliaths. That's what makes March Madness.
If they don't get in there this season, you wonder when they will make it. Florida State clinging to a 1-point lead midway through the second half, in spite of the fact that they have held NC State to 37% shooting. Forrest, floater, no. Gets his own miss, sticks it back up and in.
There's the offensive rebound. You can't let a little guard get that ball off the glass. And that's been a big concern of Kevin Keats before the game. He must work on the glass and not let them get offensive rebounds.
8th offensive rebound, and the Noles get a block from Cabangeli. Nichols, like lightning to the other end, lays it in.
Ball created by the block shot. Cabangeli with the block shot. They give him a little 5 as they come back. He created that. Get a little separation now, up 5.
Bryce has it stripped away. Although it looks like it is out off Trent Forrest.
Here's a little block party. Look at this right here. Go to the goal. Great timing on the block shot. Keeps it in bounds. And look at the Nichols. He goes right to the goal. 50-year transfer.
7th block shot of the game for Florida State.
Well, with that size, you'd expect them to be up there and block shots.
Bryce back outside to Funderburg. Hits a 3.
I tell you, Funderburg, you talk about being proficient coming off the bench. Went to the free throw line. He's got long arms, athletic.
Forrest flips it up off the glass, plus the foul. That's a backbreaker for NC State to hit a 3 and off a made basket, give up a fast break 3-point play opportunity.
You know, body control is so important when you drive into the goal against defense. Look at the body control right there. Look at that concentration. Unbelievable. Lays it on the glass, gets the conversion. You know, I mentioned Funderburg. I want to tell people, no relation at all to Lawrence Funderburg. He played at Indiana, Ohio State. Mentioned Indiana, I got a call. I was talking on the phone with Karen Knight, Bob Knight's wife. I want to make people understand. There was an article today, made it really seem that Bob was struggling for his life. He was out fishing today, and fishing, yes, she said.
That is good news.
Yeah, it's so far from the truth.
Nichols with a lay-in off another Cabangeli block shot.
Block shots, block party, leading the scores. She said this, obviously, Dick, when they age a little bit, sometimes his memory gets a little short, but physically, he is fine. He's not fishing. I read that. I couldn't believe today. I thought he was really in bad shape.
Funderburg draws the foul on Gray.
Cabangeli saying, hey, I can block shots just like Mr. Mutombo, my uncle, except I can do something my uncle can't do. I can shoot the jumper and score. His uncle is class as can be. What he's done, humanitarian efforts are off the charts. We need more players, man. Use their name, their fame in a positive way. Extending a hand to people, helping people. I mean, why not? You're on top of the world. You hear these contracts. Baseball, Bryce Harper, $330 million. Help, man, and I'm sure he will. But gee whiz, we need more of that on these guys. Go back to the communities and help those that need a helping hand. That's what Mutombo has done.
And the legacy he will leave behind is amazing. Walker accelerates.
There's the offensive glass again.
Cabangeli kicks it back outside. Gray will reset.
Give clubs second and third opportunities. Offensive rebound, really a nightmare. As Al McGuire would say, the Achilles heel right now for NC State.
Nichols tried to wrap a pass through traffic to Cabangeli, and Cabangeli was fouled. So he will go to the free throw line. ESPN and the ACC will bring you the ACC Network. It starts in August. 15 universities, one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more.
I got a feeling they're going to do really, really well because the ACC is well run, it's organized, and they got some power players in their conference.
So the nephew of Dikembe Mutombo at the free throw line, and we were talking about it in the first half. He's got an NBA future in front of him as well.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I think another year this kid could be basically a top lottery selection. He's got that ability, talent.
Averaging 13 points, nearly 6 rebounds a game off the bench.
And you look at the minutes. How many minutes is that? Like 23 or 24?
He only averages 20 and a half minutes a game.
20 minutes a game.
He only plays half the game as Nichols tries a three. That won't go. Offensive rebounding has been a big boon for the Noles, helping them to a 6-point lead. Way outside, it's Beverly. Offensive rebound, Funderburk, and he's able to get the reverse to go.
I'm really impressed with Funderburk. He's been active, he's been aggressive, he's asserted himself.
He's got 16 in double figures for the 5th time in the last 7 games. Down the lane, the C's part for Trent Forrest.
Tell you one thing, Coach Keats can't be happy with that defensive effort. That was enough to put a Mack truck right down that lane for that jam.
Markel Johnson for 3. Yes.
That's a big one right there by Markel. He made 6 of them against Wake Forest. That was a big one. If you look at their losses, the one bad loss was losing to Wake Forest.
Although they didn't have Markel Johnson for that game.
Right. Every time they try to get a little separation, they make a big play when you talk about North Carolina State. They just can't get that gap.
Beverly, the quick trigger from the corner, and we're tied.
Well, he can shoot that 3, man. He just got to get opportunities. And that comes, I guess, moving without the ball, some screens.
That's his 2nd 3 of the game. Paxton Beverly averages 2.5 made threes per game, 4th best in the ACC. Although Fiando Cabangeli, he was able to get to the rim and couldn't finish, but Trent Forrest did when the C's parted.
Tell you one thing, look at that lane. It's wide open. I can score in this lane. Look at this. Wow. Up and away. Jam City. Slam jam bam.
Later on tonight on SportsCenter at midnight Eastern, Pucci and Anderson will have SportsCenter after Gonzaga St. Mary's. They'll have Warriors 76ers highlights, plus a couple of weeks away from Selection Sunday, how the potential top seeds are faring on this college basketball Saturday, and post-fight reactions from UFC 235. SportsCenter on ESPN and the ESPN app later tonight. Shoes Dick Vitale, Allison Williams here in Tallahassee, tied with 6.5 minutes to go and 5 to shoot for the Noles. As Mann, off balance, gets bailed out by a C.J. Bryce foul with 3 seconds on the shot clock.
They've been chasing them all afternoon. NC State's been chasing Florida State. They've caught them. Let's see what happens now. We're at winning time the last 6 minutes. I'll tell you an interesting tip that's happening today. If Indiana beats Michigan State, we're going to start hearing people talking about Indiana in the tournament. They're 5-12 in conference play going into this game. That can't be real. I don't care what their wins are.
How do you make the NCAA tournament 7 games below 500 in your league?
Well, it wouldn't be 7. They beat Michigan State. You see, they got some great wins. Louisville. They beat Marquette. That have 2 wins over Michigan State.
Bryce now has 4 fouls, by the way. Draws a foul here on man. So, a couple of important players for NC State now with 4 fouls. Markel Johnson and C.J. Bryce. And I would love to see you make the case to all those mid-major teams that don't make it if Indiana makes the NCAA tournament.
Well, I'd be very frustrated and upset about it. I mean, come on. I can understand maybe if there were 500.
Nichols with a nice floater off the backboard as he is able to extend the Noles lead to 3.
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is, like you just said, that if they win today, there'll be 6 games under 500 still in conference play, but I believe 2 more to play. So the best they could be is 4 games under 500. Last time a team got in 4 games under 500 was right here, Florida State, 1998. Not impossible, I'll tell you that. But I tell you one thing, it would bother me to see a team like that in over, let's say, a Belmont or one of those teams that got beaten in their conference tournament, Buffalo, etc. I mean, that would be a nightmare.
Man, short, gets his own miss and flushes it.
What an offensive rebounder he is. I'll tell you, he's a gamer, man. He misses that shot, and you waste time, bounce right off the floor, and gets a second opportunity. Offensive rebound is the difference maker in this game.
He's the leading offensive rebounder for Florida State. But Thunderbird continues to put together a terrific day. He's tied his career high with 18.
He's got to get a lot more PT playing time, man. Oh, look at this, Mr. Lenardi.
I'm talking about the last 4 in and the first 4 out as things stand right now. So you've got the Hall, Clemson, Utah State, Arizona State as the last teams if the tournament were to start tomorrow on the right side of the bubble. And boy, John Morant to miss the tournament. That would be tough. I'm sure a lot of fans would just like to see Murray State make it.
St. Mary's, they can go in very simply, beat Gonzaga tonight.
Umaji misses the lob, steps on the end line.
You know, if they beat Gonzaga, they move up.
Yes.
Mr. Lenardi, a workaholic, loves what he's doing. Here we go, last 4 minutes, baby. 3-point game. North Carolina State wants that knockout punch.
Torin Dorn is fouled.
They don't want to waste time with that committee deciding. They get a win here. It's celebration time down there in the triangle.
Man called for his 3rd, and now Florida State is out of fouls to give.
I think North Carolina out of the ACC is a team to keep an eye on. I really love that team, the way they're playing now. They got Kobe White's terrific. The kid Johnson could shoot the 3. They're making a strong run now for a #1 seed.
Well, they're going to have that one last resume builder in the regular season against Duke to close it out, and that one at home.
I got a feeling Zion's going to play that game.
Beverly gives it up to Dorn. Matt, second effort is good.
Okay, he's had a heck of a second half. Tough play, makes the big shot right there. We're going to the wire again, just like last week. Florida State's won 9 out of 10 in the conference, only lost North Carolina at North Carolina. Won 8 in a row, first time ever.
Finger roll, perfect for Trent Forrest.
Yeah, Forrest drives, man drives. Look at a bunch of slashes and drivers. First time this year to win 8 games in a row in ACC competition before losing to the Tar Heels.
Markel Johnson for 3. Three minutes and 21 seconds to go. It's a 3-point lead for Florida State, trying to get to that top 4 in the ACC. NC State trying to make sure they stay on the right side of the bubble. A big game for both.
Wow.
How about that? As Indiana does hold on to get the win against Michigan State.
They got some great wins. I mean, people are going to be screaming and yelling about their wins. You talk about quad 1 wins. I mean, think about it. Maybe Wisconsin, they were a good week. But that's why people, like myself, the major disappointment this year, everybody was anticipating them to be a top 15 team. You know me like, oh, what a nice catch. Look at that pass.
Man makes the catch on the home run. And John Gaffney says a foul on the floor will be called on Braxton Beverly as the crowd was looking for a Terrence Mann continuation.
Continuation. That was the NBA. That would count. Not going to count here, but little football time. Willie Taggart in the house. They caught a long pass. Charlie Ward, look at this. Peter Warwick with the catch. Yes, sir. Little Ward, maybe the Warwick right there. Even though they didn't play together. I know they happen to be two great guys come to my gala, so I like both. So I'm hooking them up. Ward to Warwick.
I wasn't complaining.
Somebody on the TV screaming already, or on Twitter, oh, Dickie V, where's he lose his mind? They never played together.
Man converts at the line. 3:15 to go, and it's a 5-point lead for Florida State.
Well, now every possession getting bigger and bigger for Florida State.
Markel Johnson bailed out by Funderburk. Bryce kicks it back out to Johnson.
Nice
Shot fake and a 3. Hits it.
What a nice play. The young kids out there, did you see that shot fake? The shot fake created space, the open look, squared his body, and made the big, big play. Look at Coach Keats. I like what I see. I love what I see. He said very positive. Always look at the glass half filled rather than half empty. Watch the shot fake. I watch him reverse the ball out to Johnson. Oh, what a great. Freeze it right there. Now look at the space he has. Look at the space. Squares his body, takes his time, poise, leads to points.
Markel Johnson, he is a second-half weapon for NC State. Nearly 60% of his points this season have been scored in second halves. He's had 8 second halves where he's been in double figures, just in the second half alone.
You know, Chuck Walsh walking back and forth. He's a nervous wreck. We watch him. He's chewing on Mailix. Who's Chuck Walsh? He's the fine SID here at Florida State. Worked at Maryland at one time. Those SIDs do a great job across the station. They help you, they help me. Hey, Chuck, did I say it the way you told me? Chuck.
Take a little FaceTime. Smile for the camera, Chuck.
All right, here we go.
NC State down to 1 timeout remaining, and both teams are now going to be over the limit.
Farsi, the driver. He loves spotting open lanes and driving. So does man.
Walker splits the defense, draws a foul.
See, they're driving. They're slashers. Walker, man, Forrest, they like to attack off the bounce. They see any daylight, they are going.
Cabangeli went down trying to go over and congratulate Walker and help him up. He ended up on the deck.
Little smile on his face. Look at this. They spot an open lane. There he gets knocked.
Watch Cabangeli.
Cabangeli.
Let me go and help my guy up. Whoops.
Oh, and he collapsed.
Yikes.
Tripped.
We need Joshua out there. You're a guy with clean up the sweat stain.
Yeah, he was cleaning it up for him. He's earning his visit here. Free throws, man, big this stage of the game. They are major.
M.J. Walker, a former McDonald's All-American. At one point, we had him as number 8 on our ESPN 100, the #1 shooting guard recruit in America.
Paul Biancardi, these people, they really do a heck of a job evaluating the high school talent.
C.J. Bryce tries to float one up to Funderburk. Cabangeli got in the way. Kofer on the deck, wants to call a timeout. And the timeout is granted to FSU. And both teams now down to their final timeout.
You know, Bob, I think that Coach Keats would like to have that possession back because that was not really a wise play. Trying to throw the lob over against Florida State with their size and athleticism, very difficult to do.
Again, to reiterate how important this game is to NC State.
Yeah, NC State was sitting at 8-7 conference play. They want to stay over 500 in the conference. They lose, they go to 8-8. That's mediocre at best. And a lot of people are saying mediocrity should not be in the tournament. Look at the standings right here. You know, Duke's got 3 losses conference play. I believe all 3 losses, they never had a full cast. I may be wrong there, but I know Reddish missed the game with Syracuse. They lost. Zion's certainly been out. They've lost. They have not had their full cast in conference play. I think they had their full cast with one of the losses out of conference. They lose games right now by using good basketball IQ, by making good decisions and taking quality shots, and making sure the right people have the ball at the end of the game. Spinning out. Ball screen.
Man on the drive. Rolls it off the rim, and Dorn's got the rebound.
Well, Man's not a bad choice. He's a clutch player, had a good angle on the drive right there, came up short. I like the poise of Johnson.
Rice can't hit it from the corner. Minute and a half to go, and it's covered up by M.J. Walker.
And he's the one guy they want to shoot the ball at the end of the game. On the road, Bryce. Bryce comes in to this game with an incredible resume playing on the road. You talked about it, documented. 16 points a game and over 57% from the three on his road games in the ACC.
Trent Forrest hooks one up off the window, but it won't go. A foul called as Dorn was ready to take off the other way. It's going to come back and go against NC State.
Wow. You know, the last two drives have been right there with Man, Forrest, right there.
And Funderburk is fouled out.
Oh, he pushed him, no question. He's got a little shove right there.
That little hook on Cabangeli was what has now fouled out DJ Funderburk. So while we have an opportunity, quickly, back to Zubin in the studio.
Bob, I know you spent a ton of time during the season in Big 12 play. Huge game for Texas at 7-9 in the Big 12. Hosting Iowa State, you can see it on the ESPN app right now. When you guys are done in Tallahassee, right back here on ESPN2. Back to you.
And a really tough road, Zubin, for Texas. Not only do they have Iowa State coming up next, but then they go to Lubbock for Big Monday on Monday night to take on a Texas Tech team that thinks that they not only have a chance to win the Big 12, but maybe they could, with an impressive showing down the stretch, get up to the 2 line and be a real threat in the NCAA tournament as well. So if Shaka Smart's team is going to get to the right side of the bubble, Dick, they're going to earn it.
Tell you one thing, Zubin works hard, but so do you. You're leaving here, going home to your mom's birthday party, and then you got to get in a plane and go to Lubbock, Texas. You're the traveling man. Cabangeli comes up big in that first free throw. I love this kid. Cabangeli is absolutely a clutch player. Then he hits the road. Cabangeli is up with the scores, 2 big ones. Got a little full court pressure.
Dorn with the left hand. Can't get it to go. Gets his own miss. Back outside. Shot fake Johnson for 3. Hits it. And it's a 1-possession game with 55 seconds to go.
Tell you, Markel Johnson with a big 3 right there. But the drive by Dorn, he misses the drive, and he comes up with a terrific offensive rebound to set up Johnson. They don't go away, man. Every time you see separation, 5-6, they come back with a big play. 1 timeout for each club now coming down the stretch. They're going to get the ball back, obviously, when you talk about NC State.
They need a stop here, though. 13 to shoot.
Cabangeli's got to be involved. Cabangeli's got to be involved.
Forrest floats it to him. Cabangeli blocked from behind by Devin Daniels.
Well, he was the guy being involved, but they did a great job rotating. He'd see the defense.
Shot clock turned off. NC State doesn't need a 3 unless they take their time. And I think Kevin Keats all of a sudden sensed that Markel Johnson was not going to be playing with much of a sense of urgency with the clock winding down. He called timeout.
Well, you know what happened? Johnson lost concept of the time situation. So many players really have a difficult time down the stretch of a game understanding time and understanding what the score and what the situation is. And I think he got caught into that.
Great play by Daniels.
Yeah, that great play.
And watch how casual all of a sudden Markel Johnson gets, backing it out with less than 18 seconds to go. And watch Keats now as he just kind of casually backs it out. Says, well, let's get a timeout.
Well, you know what? He's made it now because of that passive play. He's made now a three almost become really a shot they got to look for. He took so much time off that clock.
Well, 16 seconds, or the better part of 16 seconds, is plenty of time to do either. So if you're Kevin Keith, you're going to draw up a play here to try and get a three if you can, or is option number one to go to the basket, maybe foul and extend the game?
I think if the three is available, you take the three. If it's available, you don't force it. Gordon's a driver.
And at what point, if you're Leonard Hamilton, would you want your guys to play the clock and maybe foul and prevent the three?
Well, you prevent the three. I'd say 5-6 seconds.
That's a long
down.
time.
Yeah. They're going for the 15th win at home. They're 14-1. Coach Keats, coaching his heart out here, needs a big quality win, and this would be one. Florida State trying to keep their home streak going where they've been so tough here, other than that incredible shot by Reddish to beat them.
And the Wolfpack now out of timeouts.
Well, here he goes. Clock going now. I think they're forcing themselves to have to take a three. They're looking for Beverly.
Beverly fouled with 9 seconds left. 8.9 to be exact. So it'll be Braxton Beverly, 74% at the free throw line to go to the line, and not the worst result for both teams, I guess, when you think about it. Florida State didn't allow a three to get off, but there's plenty of time on the clock for NC State to get the ball back.
There's different situations down here. Obviously, if he converts these, you got a 1-point game, and they got the basketball. Oh,
couldn't
big,
hit it.
Big.
Kabengele's got the rebound, and now you have to give the foul. And Daniels does just that with 6.3 seconds to go.
And Kabengele, if he converts here, it's lights out. Free throw line, always so big in close games. You can practice all you want, go all kinds of offensive sets, do all kinds of things to get high percentage shots. Many games coming down the stretch are determined by standing alone on the 15-foot line and having to make a free throw.
And that is the crucial one. That makes it a 4-point game.
It's game. You lose this game, there's no shape or form why you should lose this game now with 6 ticks on the clock, up 4.
Now up 5.
15-1, they'll be at home. Tough loss.
A takeaway by Forrest, and that'll be the exclamation point for Florida State as they win it by 5. 78-73 is your final. Iowa State and Texas next. For Dick Vitale and Allison Williams, I'm Bob Wischusen. The Cyclones and the Horns standing by in Austin. Let's get to Lo Galindo and Reed Geddes. Guys?